Hi, I'm Madeline James, and today we are going to talk about, this would normally be my 2024 recap 2025 goals video, and this is it's essentially what this is. I have sort of notes and stuff, but for the most part, I'm just gonna chat. We're gonna be chatty, which, did I already finish my coffee? Yes, that's sad. But it's kind of been crazy. Normally I have this great little nice neat list of goals that I could just go through, and 2024 got away from me. In some ways, it looks like a total failure. In some ways it looks like a total success. We'll get into that more in a minute, but just I have all the goals that I set in last year's video, which is part of why I love doing this, because then I can reflect on it. But I wanted last year to be a level up year, right? Where I work on learning a lot, growing a lot, improving my process, not necessarily getting a ton of stuff done, but just really taking the time with every single thing I do to be learning and building things up and all of that, right? So there's, yes. So I had a whole plan, which I don't know if I have it here, but I had this whole video that I did last year where I showed my learning goals and this timeline I did, which looks like this. And I definitely did a lot of this. I did not do it in this neat, organized fashion, for sure. So that sort of part of the way through the year kind of fell off. I wanted to finish a big developmental pass of my Magic Forge project, which did not happen. I'm preparing to do that now. That got pushed back. I was going to start that, and then I got invited to do the Reedsy How to Write a Novel in 100 Days, I think is what it's called, that course. And that sort of, taking that sort of then took over. So yeah, once I hit summer and I started that, because I think that started in July. So I got halfway through the year, basically, and then I started that. And that took up a ton of time. And then I had a friend visiting for a month, and I didn't do anything while she was here. So that took up some time. And then I basically started the world's worst chain of sicknesses in this household. It was awful. I think September and October, there was a couple days here or there where someone in my house was not sick. And then leading into the holidays, oh my gosh, I think in a 2-week period before the holidays, I think I worked 3 days because everyone in my house was sick. And it's the way it's been lining up has been awful. My son got the stomach bug. And then my daughter got the stomach bug. And then my son got a ear infection. Then he got strep throat. And then my daughter got strep throat. And then I got strep throat. And it was just it was a nightmare. We'll get back to that. But that was a bit of a nightmare. So I have not gotten that much done since basically I started taking that course in July. I got stuff done with the course and I learned a lot, but not with my plans. I wanted to be ready to start drafting Craft Potion, which again, that's the getting ready for that was the other task I sort of dropped off. I spent a ton of time doing that, and I did start drafting that a little bit, but I sort of realized that didn't, it was too, what's the word, pantsy for my process. So that didn't work very well for me. And then I wanted to do a big TBR challenge. It did not happen. We're not even going to talk about that. I wanted to eat healthier and exercise more for a lot of different reasons. I did great with that for the first half of the year. I think I lost 20 pounds or something. And I was working out too. So I was also gaining muscle. And then that just completely dropped off with everything that's been going on. So I do want to get back into that. I wanted to survive winter sicknesses. Last winter, around this time of year, shortly after I filmed this video, I threw my back out. I was on bed rest for 4 days. I was on and off dealing with back problems for, I guess, the first half of the year. And I ended up having to be in PT for 4 months, I think. And I don't know, it was a whole ordeal. And then the kid sicknesses was still pretty bad. It wasn't as bad, but I think I used 2 weeks of PTO and then time off the first 2 months of the year just from sicknesses. So we have that to look forward to again. And I wasn't even anticipating the fall and winter sicknesses. I don't know. Save money in PTO. Obviously that did not happen. Didn't even come close to happening. I wanted to redo my son's room. Did not happen. That's mostly a decision thing. We just decided that he wasn't quite ready to take care of a nice new room. Like, he's still being a little destructive, like kids are, you know? So that's on hold. I wanted to avoid the summer heat. I did that one. I did do that one. I stopped doing the outdoor sword stuff in those events because the heat it's so bad for me, and I really shouldn't push that. So I stopped doing that, and that's been good. And so this is the point where I was saying, like, it sounds like this year was kind of an epic failure. And again, in some ways it is. But on the other hand, there's been a lot of really great things too. And so I wrote a list of some of them, but like, I started learning conlanging this year, which was a crazy new thing that I started doing. It's very cool. I'm really enjoying it. And I'm getting to meet a lot of really cool people doing that. And that's required a lot of relying on my community. Like, that is something that I could not have started doing unless I had a lot of people in my community, out of you guys, that were conlangers that have been helping me. And so that my ability to do that is because of you all, which is really cool. And then just the community, like my community that I've built this year, or that's been built around me, however you want to say that, has gotten so crazy this year. Like, it's been insane. I've met so many new people, so many other creators and experts, and just people that are doing all this writing world building stuff too. And it's just, I cannot express to you how cool it is. Like, it is absolutely my favorite part of this whole thing, right? I mean, like, I interviewed a big sword fighter this past year. We had Artifexian on the channel for one of my streams for a little bit, and like, he's been giving me a lot of advice from a, YouTuber and world building perspective and stuff, and he's just been amazing, and that's helped a lot. I've met a lot of experts mostly through Artifexian, actually. Ross Geo, World Building Pasta, like all these people, and just a lot of other experts that, like, I won't say their like handles or names because, like, that won't, if I've already gotten permission to mention them on the channel at some point, then I can mention them. But like, meeting all these people that have helped me out and taught me so much and guided me so much has been absolutely amazing. And it's just been so cool to not be doing this by myself, like, entirely. Like, to an extent, I'm still largely doing this by myself, but like, going from something where you're just sitting here trying to figure out how to do it on your own, trying to find what to read on your own, trying to find what processes to use or how to do it, and decide if you like what you've created, and to go from that to being able to talk to other people and get recommendations from other people and get, like, feedback from other, like, all of this stuff. Like, it's so cool, and I'm so grateful for it. Like, absolutely the best thing this channel has done is help me meet people, which is weird, but that's been a really big thing. And I actually have my year on YouTube stats, because this has been a big year for this channel as well. I have gained in 2024, when I took a screenshot of this, so it must be missing a couple weeks, or maybe those weeks, I don't know. But it said I had 3,051 new subscribers this year, which is crazy. Like, if you remember where I was last year, like, I think right now I have, let's pull it up. I think I have 5,820 subscribers. So 3,000 of that. So almost half of that I got this year, which means my channel has like doubled this past year, which is crazy. And again, I think a lot of that is just due to the community that I've been able to have now, and the people I've been able to work with, and just the advice and the extra quality I've been able to put into things because of all of that. I think it really shows how worthwhile it is. But yeah, like, It's just so cool. It's so cool. It's so, so cool. But yeah, so I have that. I've really, because of all that, really, really improved my research and all my world building guide videos this year. Like, I've read so many books. Like, I don't know if you could see this. This whole bookshelf is nonfiction. And I haven't read every single one of these yet. Like, some of these I've gotten, I had before, or I got because I'm going to need it for future research. But a lot of this, I have to some extent read and gone through. And I got a significant portion of those this year. Like, I read a lot more nonfiction this year than I did fiction, I think. And it's been awesome. Like, I've been really enjoying it. It's been great. I think, I've been seeing, like, I think it works, right? Because, like, the channel's growing. Those videos are still going really good. Like, my cultural world building guide videos especially. I did the ores and the rocks videos this year, which, like, just about killed me. That took, like, 6 months to do. And that was definitely the most intense thing I've ever done. Mostly just because I didn't have a basis for that guide and I had to do all the research sort of from scratch, if that makes sense. Like, I had to, like, there's a lot of stuff that, like, people have done before and there's mechanisms and stuff that you can build off of and improve, and that's kind of what we do. We iterate on it. But I kind of had to start the rocks and ore one, which was a bit rough. So yeah, so I have that. So that's kind of like, I don't know. So it's like, on one hand, sort of a massive failure. On the other hand, was actually really, really amazing, right? Like, it was really great. So I think one of the big things that I've learned this year, and that's something that my husband and I have learned this year, is that the priorities that we actually have and the ideal life we want to be living, right, is there's some distinctive differences from what we're doing now, right? And I think that it's hard to I don't know, I feel like it's hard to be aware of these things in the moment, but, like, clearly there's so much stuff that is not working for my family right now. Like, the fact that our kids have been sick so much, that we've missed so much work this year, that we don't have any way to compensate for that we don't have any way to handle that. Like, we don't have the ability to work from home at all. So, like, when our kids are sick, we're just off work. Which I know there's a lot of fields and careers that are like that, but for both of us to be like that is very, very, very challenging. And we don't have people around us that can, like, watch our kids for us or, like, pick up the slack when we need help. So again, that makes it really, really challenging. And we're looking at that now, and we're acknowledging that, and we've spent a lot of time the last month or so thinking about, okay, like, this isn't working for us, right? What would work for us? Like, what do we actually need? And we've started taking a few steps in that direction, but largely we're still figuring it out. And there's a lot of things that, like, we've talked about and we're considering and we're looking into, but I don't want to share any of that until I know what's actually going to happen. But we're definitely thinking about that. We're definitely, I don't know, we want a more, like, a slower paced, less, like, work focused life, one where we can make our lives easier, if that makes sense, right? Like, there's a lot of benefits for doing what we do, right? But it's not worth it in some degrees, right? So I don't know. We're doing some looking into that. We've already started moving in the direction of trying to achieve that how we can with how everything's set up now, and we're definitely making progress. And having this long break over Christmas is great. But come next year, like, one way or the other, somehow, some way, somewhere, there are going to be some significant changes for my family next year. I don't know what they're going to be yet, but they're going to be significant. They're going to be changes. And I mean, all the things we've talked about, I'm excited about. I think they'd all be great. It'll just depend on what we can actually do. There's a lot of things to consider. And I have tons of plans, but, that's one big thing that's going to happen this year. And so because of that, for planning, I don't want to get too specific. Like, I'll do a video at some point where I talk about my plans for 2025, or, like, a little bit of an HB90 thing or something, but I don't know what's going to happen next year, so to an extent, I can't plan that much. I do have some goals, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. So let's come up with some goals for next year, because I didn't actually do this in advance, and I probably should have, but we're going to do it together. So let's start with writing goals. I am starting revisions again for Magic Forged. I'm in the process of the revision guide now, and actually, let's see. Whoa! Yeah. I'm like re-outlining it, taking notes, figuring things out like actively. And I want to start those revisions mid-January. I've talked to a editor that I met at a conference. And I'm going to have him do a developmental edit of my book. My plan for getting it to him is end of March. Yeah. So my goal is to finish my big developmental edit by the end of March, give that to him to edit, because I think I just need that from a like learning perspective. Like, I don't know if I'll do, like, I want to do, obviously there'll be editors, right? But I think that I just want to do a big developmental edit, even if it's just for like the learning. And I found one that wasn't outrageously expensive. Like, I think he's gonna be great. But I'm really excited about that. So I'll get through that edit. And I think I want to finish that book this year, like entirely? I think I want to either finish it or be close to finishing that book. And then I think I also want to, I'm not going to make a goal for another book, but I want to make some progress on another project. I definitely want to do that. I want to continue with my conlanging. So I want to keep growing in that and doing more. Yes, I really want to do more of that. I think it's great. I'd love to at some point this year get to the point where I can make an actual like my style naming language guide, right? Because I think people like the way that I do my guides, and that they're very low tech, very accessible, very streamlined. And part of me being able to do that is I have to really, really understand what I'm doing, and then I make those guides sort of for myself. And right now I've been using my like program to do conlanging, and that's not accessible for other people, right? But that's how it's working for me to learn it and understand it and document it. But I'd like to reach the point this year where I could make a little bit of a guide for it. And there's some really good, like really great ones out there that I'll want to reference, but that's something I'd really like to do this year. What else is there? There's the Worldbuilding guide. I have a very cool plan that I think was actually suggested by someone in the Discord. And essentially what I want to do is start like alongside my like cultural societal world building guide. I want to have us come up with like 3 separate stories and be sort of next to that, using it as an example for like, for these stories, this is how we would do these world building steps. And have them be coming at it from very different angles of scope and focus and just all of that. So that's something I really want to get going this year. And I think that'd be really great. I mean, we could say like, wouldn't it be great if the channel like doubled in size again next year? That'd be cool. It would be like 10,000 subscribers, which would be crazy. I think next year, one of my other goals is I want to either figure out exactly what I want to do with the channel, or I think I might need to split the channel into real building and writing focused stuff, just because my audiences for those things are incredibly different. I don't have a lot of writing only people, but that's mostly because a lot of my channel isn't very accessible to them. And I have a ton of world builders that don't look at any of my writing content. So my writing content does very poorly on this channel, and all my world building stuff does really, really well. But the writing stuff is really important for me to do, for my process, for my learning, for my understanding. So what I might need to do this year is split them, and then I'd be able to go about them very different ways. The channels would be a little bit more specific, and like those videos would get recommended to the right people. Because if all of my writing content is just shown to like an even spread of my audience, a significant portion of that is world builders that don't care about my writing content. They're not going to look at it. it won't do well, it won't get recommended to more people. Like, it kind of kills all my writing videos, which is incredibly obvious because, like, the last world building guide video I put out, within the first, like, couple days, I think it was at, like, over 1,000 views. And most of my writing videos kind of peak at, like, 200, 300 views. So, like, it's a drastic difference. And they hurt each other too, right? Because those videos that don't do well hurt than my world building guide videos. So I need to figure that out at some point. Another thing I want to do next year is I'd like to start an actual Patreon. I've had a Ko-fi, and that's been great. And I'm actually surprised how many people have been supporting me in Ko-fi. Like, I think the months where I'm doing, because I did a couple sponsorships last year with the Readsy course. And if you factor those in, I think I almost broke even. Almost, not quite, but almost broke even with the amount of money I spend to run this channel. So not even counting, like, equipment type stuff, but, like, my Adobe subscription, my Canva subscription, my Epidemic Sound subscription, my streaming subscription, like, all these things that I use to be able to run this channel, I'm almost breaking even. Which means this almost isn't, like, a thing I am actively paying to be able to do. Which, if you remember from my goals, my husband and I's goals for next year to kind of change things a little bit, that's going to be one of them. So I'd like to get to the point where I can provide more value to people who want to support the channel. Because, like, the Ko-fi's great, but it is literally people just giving me money for nothing in return. Like, they are literally just trying to support the channel, which is amazing. But I feel so bad. So I want to be able to put, I think, a Patreon together and be able to offer, like, some more exclusive stuff. There's things I'd like to look at, or talk about, but I don't want to put it just publicly, widely accessible on my channel. So there's things that, like, maybe I do some, like, custom posts there, or, like, you know, exclusive posts, I guess. I might even do some exclusive videos, stuff like that, where it's, like, things I don't want publicly available, but I'd love to be able to talk about and share, stuff like that. And then there's, like, other stuff I could do that would be a lot of fun. So I think I want to move in that direction next year. So that kind of covers the channel. We talked about writing goals. So then personal goals, we sort of talked about those too. Like, there's going to be a big lifestyle change. I do want to work on eating healthier and exercising more again and bring that back again. Like, things have just gotten too crazy and I had to let a lot of stuff slide. But I want to get back into that. I want to start rowing again. I want to start exercising again. I've been making better choices with my body this year, with just, like, not injuring myself. So, like, I think I've made it through this holiday this year without throwing my back out and being injured for the rest of the year. Like, I've learned a lot of exercises, I've gone through PT, and I've learned the things that I just can't do, right? So, like, driving out to visit my husband's family, I can't do that. Not a lot, and not, like, with no rest time. So, like, when we went last time, I flew. And so, like, I just have to make choices like that will keep me from hurting myself and keep me in better shape. And also, exercising and doing stuff and eating better is going to help me not injure myself as well, which would be great. Let me think if I can think of any other goals. I'm not sure. I can't think of anything else. I think those are the main goals right now, but I apologize for this video just being so chaotic. But I would love to know if you all have any fun goals for next year. I would also like to know if you have any, like, things that you think would work well from a, like, Patreon perspective or something like that. But yeah, I think it's, like, almost 10 o'clock on Friday, December 27th right now. This video is going to go up as soon as I can edit it and get it out there. And yeah, I think next year is going to be fun. I think there's going to be a lot of changes. I think I'm going to do a lot of new stuff. I think hopefully this community continues to grow, and I am so excited for it. I'm so grateful. Like, honestly, I know I've talked about this, but, like, it blows my mind the success that this channel has had, the success that just me sharing, doing stuff has had. Like, the number of people that want to interact with me and want to help me and want to, you know, I guess learn from me. I don't know. Learn with me. We'll say learn with me. That makes me feel less cringe. But like, it's so wonderful and amazing, and it makes me so happy, and it makes all of this stuff that I do feel so much more fulfilling and fun, and I'm very grateful, and I should probably stop this because I'm going to ramble forever. I will see you in 2025, and I hope the end of your year is good. I hope the new year is good for you, and we'll talk next year.